You know what often goes unnoticed? The generation that grew up between the headlines. While everyone studies the youngest like a new experiment, this group rarely gets examined at all. They learned early how to blend into the background. Generation X, roughly 1965 to 1980, arrived at a hinge point in modern life. Steady under pressure became their default setting. Emotional self-containment was practically a survival skill. They helped wire the digital world, yet never felt compelled to narrate their every moment. Privacy wasn't strategy, it was instinct, and their inner wiring is far more intricate than most people assume. Many carried their own house key before they were even tall enough to reach the top lock. Afternoons were often quiet and unsupervised. If something went wrong, there was usually no immediate lifeline, so they handled small responsibilities long before adulthood arrived. They were hardly alone in this. Millions were living the same routine. Independence stopped being optional. It became normal. Freedom came paired with accountability. Expectations were rarely ambiguous. Comfort typically followed compliance, not conversation. Cause and effect revealed themselves quickly. Over time, their thinking tilted naturally toward foresight. Meanwhile, the promise of permanence around them began to fracture. Institutions that once looked immovable suddenly weren't. The lesson was unmistakable. Rules can change without warning. Optimism stayed, but it learned to travel with caution. Trust the ground, but test it first. That may explain their quieter digital footprint. They came from an era where personal life stayed personal. Most mistakes faded instead of echoing. Memory was local, not permanent. Exposure feels less like attention and more like risk. Sometimes safety looks a lot like invisibility. Humor became a subtle form of armor. A quick joke could create just enough emotional distance. After all, they practiced emergency drills for threats no desk could stop. Holding tension without panic became second nature. When it came to work, they developed a reputation for simply getting on with it. Responsibility often started with modest, very real jobs. Effort produced tangible rewards, even if they were small. Watching corporate certainty crumble shifted their faith toward personal skill. Control what you can, especially your usefulness. At their core lies an unusual balance, fiercely self-reliant, yet quietly dependable to others. Asking for help didn't always feel natural. Offering it, however, did. Friendship frequently filled the gaps left by busy adults. Authority earned respect through competence, not volume. Titles alone carried little weight. Credibility had to be demonstrated. Years of public scandal encouraged a habit of healthy skepticism. Economic stability often felt like a moving target. Just as momentum built, markets reminded them how fragile timing can be. Diversifying income became less ambition and more precaution, because durability, they learned, is never guaranteed. Even under stress, many preferred to weather storms internally. Reaching for assistance could feel like surrendering competence. So resilience grew remarkably strong. Knowledge, back then, demanded a climb. Dead ends were simply part of the search. What required effort tended to stay with them. When things broke, curiosity usually stepped in first. With patience, the world often proved fixable. Now they watch a generation grow up constantly observed. Protection is given freely, though sometimes with quiet concern about fragility. They remember when boredom was just another doorway to imagination. Few groups have stood so clearly between the analog and digital worlds. Not a bridge, a foundation. Foundations don't ask to be seen. They're measured by what remains steady. No applause required, just forward motion.